qui ça pour faire, qui ça que lié, qui gens qui est ou connaît ou même ou là-dedans. So prends ça mes soins pour me saluer tout le monde qui branché sous télé Anakaona pour me dire nous tout bonsoir, bienvenue et puis j'aime toujours faire les amis ou les familles ou dire branché sous télé Anakaona ou qu'on a plusieurs façons côté au Cap garder nous 38.2 ici dans Orlando area et 16.7 dans Down South Miami, Fort Lauderdale area et puis tout dans West Palm Beach. So nous saluons tout le monde qui branché sous télé Anakaona ou même qui était déjà à suivre programmation télé. So nous demandons pour continuer à rester branché, moi pas pour compte moi ensemble avec un groupe d'amis yo même qui c'est professionnel et puis qui c'est expert tout dans sujet côté yo même yo pral venir faire débat ensemble avec nous. So nous demandons pour si ou souligne nous en direct dans studio. Relez-nous 407 782 692 62 92. So relez-nous et puis pesez extension 6 pour qu'à jouer ensemble avec nous direct. M'a dit nous bonsoir et puis nous pourrons introduire inviter nous qui là ensemble avec nous. We have Miss Shelley Femfen. Hi Miss Shelley.
Hello.
Good evening. How are you today?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm great. Melange Saint Fleur.
Hi, bonsoir Natasha.
How you doing today?
Great, great, great.
And we have Miss Ella Johnson. How are you, Miss Ella?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Ladies, thank you so much for being here with me tonight, and the floor is yours. We're gonna start by introducing yourself and tell the audience who you are and what you do. Talk to us, tell us a little bit about who you are, and we're gonna go right into it, into our topic, which is domestic violence. Miss Shelley, we're going to start with you.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, everyone. I do count it an honor and a privilege to be with all of you on tonight. My name is Shelley Fanfan. I'm a Florida State licensed psychotherapist. I am the co-owner of Harmony Mental Health and Behavioral Services, which is a community mental health center serving individuals from the ages of 2 to 99. We provide an array of interdisciplinary psychotherapeutic services. We have 2 different divisions. We have a behavioral division run by my business partner, Robin Williams. And in that division, we primarily provide applied behavior analysis services to children, adolescents, and adults with developmental disabilities. And then we have our mental health division that provides traditional psychotherapeutic interventions such as mental health therapy, couple counseling, substance abuse counseling, anger management, you name it, for individuals from the ages of 2 to 99 that have all different types of emotional disorders.
You are well suited to talk to us about this topic because you are treating patient clients.
That's right.
Yes.
Every day.
Thank you for being here with us. Miss Milan, hi.
Hi, Miss Natasha.
You're not new. This is our Milan. You know guys already, you know the face.
Well, I'm a licensed financial professional. I do financial strategy for individuals and businesses. So I develop plans, implement plans for businesses and professionals in the community. I also host Cause Finance show here in Tele Anakaona on a weekly basis, and also do a lot of community services and to keep my community progressing.
Yes. Thanks, Milan, for being here. Hi, Miss Ella.
Hi.
Welcome to TA.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. Tell us who you are, and since you are the newest one.
I know. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Ella Johnson. I am a country girl. I'm actually from Alabama, and I have a business, Women at Work International. That's my nonprofit, and we are feeding families for Thanksgiving. This year, we're feeding families in Africa, Alabama, and Texas, and all of it is done through donations. I also have Mahogany Motivations, LLC, in which I do a lot of my motivational speaking, as well as being an author. I'm the author of the Torn series. I am currently working on my 4th book. I'm writing 2 this year.
Congratulations.
This year. Thank you.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
I'm also working on the screenplay because my dream is to have my story on Lifetime.
Yes.
And I do believe that God is going to make that happen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Amen to that. Thank you, ladies, for being here. We're going to go dip right into our topic, which is what is domestic violence? Or what do we consider to be domestic abuse? And what do we know? Or when do we know that we are in an abusive relationship?
Wow, that is a loaded question.
Yes.
Because what it is and what we consider it are 2 different things. because what we perceive it to be has a lot to do with learned behavior, our culture, how we grew up, what we saw growing up. That is what leads us to have different tolerance levels for domestic violence and domestic abuse. But to answer the very first part of your question, which is what is domestic violence, it is the use of physical aggression, verbal aggression, financial superiority, or financial privilege, privilege in general, intimidation, the use of all of these different forms of power to oppress another person that you're in a relationship with or another family member. So most of the time when this is happening, it's happening between partners or individuals who belong to the same family under the same dwelling. So it is just, again, it is physical aggression, verbal aggression, intimidation, mental abuse, spiritual abuse, all types of different abuse that is used and implemented to oppress another person, to maintain power over another person.
We are so reluctant to talk about this subject. It's so taboo, especially in our community. How do we assess what questions do we ask if we do notice that, you know, a woman or a man, for that matter, is in an abusive relationship? How do we? What do we ask? What do we say? How do we approach them?
Well, it's a very hard topic to approach because one of the things that happens primarily for victims of domestic violence is that there is a lot of isolation that happens. And the reason why isolation happens is because there's a lot of shame and guilt that's associated with the act. A lot of the times what happens is that people are in relationship with people, with others, who were not that way at the beginning. And so to have this perfect person or to have been in a relationship that was historically happy and all of a sudden I'm getting beat or I'm getting hurt, sometimes the victim will internalize the blame and blame themselves and hold themselves responsible for the actions of the perpetrator.
And that's
so
the reason they don't come out.
Absolutely. And so they are in a state of shame and guilt and they don't necessarily share it. And so to confront someone about what you see, that, well, I don't see you anymore, or it seems like every time this person's around you act differently, or what's that, you know, bruise on your arm, it's very, very difficult because the automatic response is going to be
and it's such
guardedness.
A personal issue. I'm going to come back to you, ladies. We're going to take a break. I'm asking you to stay tuned, and we will come back so we continue this conversation. Rete branché pas déplacé, sous fait branché sous télé, ou ap suivre une émission spéciale côté nous a parlé de domestic violence, surtout dans la communauté pas nous, dans la communauté haïtienne, non, que nous pas parler de ça, que nous pas reconnaître que nous non en domestic abuse relation. Rete branché pas déplacé.
Peria, ça comme les Haïti Peria. Tout connaît passé, yo, I'm yo, bon, moi, slam dans toute la ria. C'est pas bon, prince, l'hôpital, canapé vert. La musique, ça m'a confirmé, pour tout ça, pas de quoi, les amis. Wow, 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 wow. On veut les pays happy, wow, wow, wow. Faut qu'il décolle pour nous tout qu'à enjoy. Haïti, c'est type, non, levez maintenant, là, yo, mandé. Haïtien, maye, maman. Haïtien, maye, papa. Haïtien, sorti, pour lui, m'a fait mourir, par mis pour la vie, yeah. Haïtien, maye, maman. Haïtien, maye, papa. Haïtien, sorti, pour lui, m'a fait mourir, par mis pour la vie, yeah. Moi, de ce là, bodai, qu'on ne se compas. Et puis, carnaval, la belle, me songe black là. Et Richard, musique, qui te bat nous love là. Qu'aime pas sauter, l'entend des bouts qui parler. Des peaux noires, des peaux rouges, des peaux vertes, des peaux bleues, des peaux 10, des peaux dark. Des peaux qui Haïti, sous qu'un ou c'est haïtien. Les amis, wow, 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 wow. Entre moi et pays happy, wow, wow, wow. Fuck les décoller, pour nous tout qu'à enjoy. Haïti, c'est type pam, non, les bébés, non, les yo, mandé. Haïtien, maye, maman. Haïtien, maye, papa. Haïtien, sorti, pour lui, m'a fait mourir, par mis pour la vie, yeah. Haïtien, maye, maman. Haïtien, maye, papa. Haïtien, sorti, pour lui, m'a fait mourir, par mis pour la vie, yeah. Moun Port-au-Prince cap haïtien moyen. Moun Saint-Marc, moun Jérémy moyen. Moun Jacmel, moun Gonaïve moyen. Benet Ake Koto Hench, Ose Nicolas Lembe. Moun Léogan kwa de bouquin moyen. Moun Pasali, moun Niragwan moyen. Moun Akaye, moun Lagodam moyen. Mi bale wana met kai benos ban for liberté. Moun Port-au-Prince aske en bas moyen. Moun Goman, moun Goyay moyen. Moun Valais Sekala sous moyen. Grenadier du Nord, la Cule du Nord, ça vaut. Moun Dessalines, c'est Raphaël moyen. Moun Plaisance, Marmelade moyen. Moun Chardonnay, moun Baradin moyen. Celui du Nord, tout du Nord, c'est nous. Haïtien moyen, maman. Haïtien moyen, papa. Haïtien sorti pour lui, m'a fait mourir, par mis pour la vie, yeah. Haïtien moyen, maman. Haïtien moyen, papa. Haïtien sorti pour lui, m'a fait mourir, par mis pour la vie, yeah.
On va représenter Haïti dans le international, ça représente pour
Haïtiano, Haïtien, Haïtien, natif natal pour bien comprendre. Qui me l'aime, tout ça qui parle comme yo. Ça va garder mon compte qui a ce qui fait action yo. C'est moi qui j'ai péria, ça comme les Haïti péria. Tout connaît passé yo, I'm yo, bon, moi, slam dans toute la ria.
Branché sous télé Anakaona, Jean nous dit là, nous avons une émission spéciale pour. Nous connaissons déjà, mois octobre, c'est mois domestic abuse, domestic violence. Côté que nous dit pour nous suspendre violence contre femmes, violence contre jeunes garçons, jeunes femmes, Timuntu. So c'est ça que fait aujourd'hui, nous-mêmes dans télé Anakaona, ensemble avec Miss Shelley, Melon et Miss Ella. Nous là pour nous parler ensemble avec vous sous domestic violence. Déjà, nous avons une question qui t'est posée, Melon.
The first question we have, let's go back. Is there a way we can report it so the individual does not get hurt? So
Anyone?
I wonder if like the person want to report the abuse, but it doesn't. The other person might maybe go to jail or get arrested or get hurt in a way.
But we should also find out who we want to report. Who is this person want to report? The perpetrator or someone that they know who's been abused?
I mean, I think
But
that
how do we report? Yes, Miss Ella, go
I
ahead.
think that if they are in fact abusing someone, you're reporting it because you want to affect a change in what your friend is going through. Because if you don't report it, then nothing is going to change. I think that what we have to do is legislation needs to get stricter.
Yes.
Because what happens is they get out and then they're able to taunt the person again. And that's why a lot of people don't report it, because now that you've reported it, the person is angry and they tend to retaliate.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we fight this thing in the legislation as well. But
So
if
that
you
means-
report it, definitely there's a possibility
Yes.
they may get arrested.
Yes. Or you might be saving a life. You might be even helping that perpetrator to get help themselves, whether it's a man or a woman. Anybody else
I
want
wanted
to
to
jump in?
say that there are protective measures out there, and I know that there are a lot of victims or a lot of people in that situation that don't necessarily trust those measures. For example, filing for injunctions, orders of protection, things of that nature. There are also domestic violence shelters that are available to protect victims and their children. And basically in those situations when someone is a victim and they're trying to get away from their perpetrator, they can go there, they can get housed there, they can get services there that would help them obtain financial independence, they can get counseling for the children, housing, placement. So there are interventions out there that are safe for people to go to and address the issue without being in harm's way.
Sometimes victims or survivors, as I like to call them, they are afraid to come out because they know it's like starting all over, especially the women with children. How do we assist? How do we help?
Well, in terms of starting over, I'm assuming you are addressing women who are in financial lack because the perpetrator is the perpetrator, whether male or female, is the breadwinner. Is okay. I do want to make sure that I say that while that is typical, that is not always the case. There are affluent women who are breadwinners in their family. They are earning money. They are supporting their families. They are doctors. They are lawyers. And they can still be victims. I think that we do a very great disservice to ourselves and to our community when we paint the picture that domestic violence is always a situation where it's a man who is the breadwinner and an oppressed woman who doesn't have an education or no means of obtaining financial independence. That is not always the case. Is it the case at times? Yes. But there are very affluent women who are breadwinners and who are thriving in their careers that come home and are subject to this oppression. But based on what your question, how does someone start over when there was that one person who was supporting them, supporting the family, paying the bills, making the decisions? How does this person start over? And yes, they do start over basically. And one of the things that we have to do is empower them. We have to give them the skills that they need in order to be independent. And that's why there are transitional homes and transitional housing programs that help these victims get on their feet. They teach them skills, financial planning, they get counseling to overcome the trauma, they make sure the children get counseling, they get to, housing placement, case management to make sure that they get on their feet. And I know that different states have different resources, but there are resources out there to assist them because there is, the new beginning does not have to be, while it may be scary, the new beginning opportunity for someone to and be operator. There is where the person cannot, most independent of the perpetrator, to get on their feet, that they are called. Starting fresh may be a challenge to live in. This explosion is going to happen, and so that angst that victims live in, injury, emotional, to see that starting over is a greater benefit than to stay a slave to that violence.
Let's talk a little bit about the financial abuse, economic.
The financial side abuse, it can reflect in different ways. Let's say the person that's work can suppress the other party with the financial mean by not providing what that person need in order for that person be what that person supposed to be, and also the household as a whole. I have one situation where a woman asks her husband for $10, and then the husband will be like, why you need $10? Yeah. So you have a housewife that needs $10, and that happened vice versa. We have a high influence person that have a good job, a woman that have a good job, went overseas, get a man, bring the man here, and supposedly in love, and after a while, then that woman, it suppressed that man, demanding a lot of things that he cannot provide. And when that happens, you're gonna have a shift in the relationship. You're gonna have a block in the relationship. And a lot of time, the other party wants to go to work or wants to go to get some skills, and then that individual will kind of revolt or will kind of block that person, because they know the moment that person get the skill, they're gonna be able to gain financial stability. And then there go the opportunity for them to lose that person, and for the opportunity for them to lose the power that they have over them. It's all about having power most of the time. It's not really about the money per se, it's about the power they have over you. Even in the case that's unemotional, it's all about power as well. So they want that controlling manipulation to be able for them to get whatever demand they might want to get from you. So when in the financial is the tools, but it's not.
What you mentioned, the situation about the couple big cards?
Yes, yes. A lot of time those will be married and then hold the green card so the other party can education, party that they will call immigration with them. All these things is a emotional too, is a financial abuse be themselves as well. So that is, well, we consider that. When we do strategy, you will see that a lot of times vice versa, and then it's kind of blocked. Let's say if we trust, and then the other party think they want to do the trust, life insurance, for the other one to get, they think the other party gonna, all these things, when you start doing that, the other person is, what is the mean? And most of the time, it's not like they don't know the more.
So how do you count them?
Well, a lot of times, they have been.
The level of education.
Exactly. These tech, most of the time, they need to go see a counselor advisor. We already on the family to manage your family. Surpass that, most of the time, they can accomplish a lot and go progress on the family. So we is that you need to consult them. We got some kind of counseling session that they do with the client before they implement. We find that to take them as a licensed professional, we know then help. Yes, that was on Facebook.
The question, Karen.
On a what way? Like if
knowing that I'm in.
Leave that to Shirley, because with the ment of mind of we have to understand friends that we can.
Sure. Well, first I would speak negotiable, right? Help the people that, because that's a completely different situation. Our culture, and when I'm saying you marry and you marry to die, we learn you're working within those doesn't always necessarily mean that you may require you leaving to a relationship, get the absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes, you know, people are looking more at the long term, like I have to leave, and to kind of focus on the here and the now, and to make sure that the decisions that they make in the here and now are what are the safest decisions for themselves or their families. I want to make sure that I touch on this though. You said, what do we say when a person is in that situation? We know that they're in that situation. We know that they need help and they are open to conversation. It's very important. And I know that we're all nodding because it's people that you love. You love them and you protect it. It is very, very hard to not. What in the world are you thinking? Why would you stay? You know, how could you stay? It may allow yourself to experience this. So to be supportive and to listen and to make sure that you are not allowing your own personal beliefs and motivations to get in the way. Because remember, it's probably taken them so long to get to the point where they could even sit down and engage in a conversation about what it is that they should do. We don't want to turn them away. We don't want to scare them away. So being non-judgmental, being supportive, and I think it's important to also help people to, you know, to be clear about what their boundaries are.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are your boundaries? What is it going to take? At what point, what will it have to take for you to leave to protect your life and the lives of your children?
Sometimes, Miss Shelley, it's not because we're judgmental, because just seeing your friend or someone that you love in that situation, it's hurtful too.
Yeah.
And we're so hurt that we don't even know what to say. And we just blurt it out.
Right, right.
Well, what I normally, especially with in the practice, what I do, I always try to picture the non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables? What will you negotiate?
Those boundaries, right?
Because if you don't know your non-negotiables, then most likely you're gonna get abused again and again. You can be in a relationship and you leave the relationship for this type of abuse, and then you go to another relationship and you're still suffering maybe different type of abuse, or most likely the same type of abuse, because you don't know your non-negotiables. So once you know your non-negotiables, you know your values, you know your core values, a lot of time there's some stuff you will not take. And then your friends also, I mean, if I'm friends with someone, I see them get abused, my main thing is to see, where are your values? What are your negotiables? What are you willing to accept? What are you will not accept under any circumstances, you will not accept. So that's the main thing. That, I think, when we get to the non-judgmental zone, I think that's how we can talk with our friends about the non-negotiables. And the non-negotiables is like a guide that, where are you? Where you want to go? Why you want to stay where you are? What is the benefit that's so great that you're gonna keep getting this mental abuse?
My children, I don't want my children to go without a father.
Right.
Well, having a father,
that's him. He's the one dropping my son to school, picking him up while I'm at
yeah,
work.
but a lot that's the non-negotiable. Your negotiable is that the benefit that you're receiving right now, and that's benefit that you're getting right now gonna affect the life of the child for a long period. All this trauma that you're suffering, because once you get hurt, you're gonna transmit this hurt to the children. Somehow you're gonna transfer it to them. And then when you transfer it to them, that's a lifetime scar that you're putting for them. So because he is able to provide to you, because he's able to drop the kids in school every day, you're gonna allow this abuse to penetrate on his life?
Most of the time, that's what women say, you know, I can take the beating, but I need this for my child.
Right.
I need this for my children.
Well, this is what I do in those situations. And again, I want to highlight, and Mirlan said it so well, it's important to identify their boundaries, to identify their non-negotiables. What will it sometimes is to be expressed. Now, to do this because you know decisions, but it's important for them to be states. Relationship where you are considered guardianship. When you worship, it is grounds for those and that, because if they're making this sacrifice temporary, can make sure that you it really puts there's that in a
basically it's considered making for long. They're gonna take
with that beer. I would give them, because one of the reasons they refuse to throw the source of all abuse here, to break it down to Joan, he was on there doing that. Now you have mentioned you allow, they decided to say exactly, wait, do you want DCF in your life? I want all of you making that decision.
You know, it's an embarrassment for being abused, manipulated.
It happens, and we get before when we talked about shady, the general understanding of domestic violence. When we think of domestically, I have undergone as a result of is a victim of trauma, behavior, currently, and even these relationships, and she becomes regulation. Very significant to the point has been arrested time and time and time again. He's the perpetrator. He has ended up in jail time and time again, when in reality, a cycle of abuse, it's the same intimidation, it's the same use of physical and verbal shame, and guilt is compounded because it's a man. I mean, help from someone over this woman, right? Culture as a whole, where there's this understanding that women should be makes it harder for them to
be
get help.
submissive to our men.
Correct.
I don't believe in that.
You believe in
What? What was that?
Being
submissive
I believe in being submissive
to a point, to a certain degree.
I think
Yeah,
so.
to a certain degree.
The respect has to be there, but I think it's good because it's mandated by God. So.
Like you said, it's a controlling thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, you know, inequality. I think that submission is actually evidence of the confidence that people have in their roles in that relationship. My submission to a man, or my submission to my husband, who is the head or should be the head of household, the priest of our household, it's not coming from inequality. It's actually coming from order, God's order, his blueprint. God gives us a blueprint. And in that blueprint, that submission is honor to God first, and then honor to a man who is honoring you as God honored the church. And so there is a reciprocal submission that men should have for their wives as well. And I think that when women get afraid of the word submission or see it as some form of inequality, it really is a thought error, because it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing for a woman as strong as me. Hello? And I know I have a very strong person. It's a beautiful thing for me to submit that to a man that I call my priest, the head of household. It's a beautiful thing. And you know, Dr. Miles Monroe says it the best, that the act of caring in a relationship is meeting the needs of the other person, prioritizing the need of your partner before your own. So if you are doing everything that you can to meet and care for me, and I'm doing everything in my power to do it for you, I don't have to be in a relationship where I'm trying to meet my own needs, because you're meeting it. That's the blueprint. And another thing too, when it comes to submission, a woman submitting to a man and a man equally submitting to a woman, understanding his role as priest and how he has to seek God in order to be that power in the household. That is such a, you know, Dr. Miles Monroe says it again. I'm sorry, that's like my mentor, and that's who I eat off of every day.
He's great. He's one of the great.
He says that strong marriages create strong families, and strong families create strong communities, and strong communities create what? A strong nation. And so it all falls into the strength of that marriage, which is really under attack, spiritual attack. And it comes from this independence that a lot of women want to have, and they want to claim independence, and that is not God's blueprint.
But what happens when you are in an abusive relationship and your man is asking you, do this, do that?
Okay, well, see, that's two different things now.
When you're in a sick relationship.
That's two different things now, because when you are in a healthy relationship, submission is healthy. It's not meant to oppress you or injure you or to keep you from being the powerhouse that God has caused us and called us to be. In an unhealthy relationship, it's unhealthy. It's meant to cause injury. It's meant to break. It's meant to hold down, oppress, and suppress. And in a situation like that, then yes, a woman needs her freedom. She needs to get out of that situation. A man needs to get out of that situation. It is not God's will for us to stay in any situation that would cause us harm and can continue to injure us, because we cannot do what we're called to do in the natural when we're broken. And that is why it's not God's will for us to be in these types of relationships, because each and every one of us here on panel, on this stage, and our studio audience, not all of us were caused to fulfill a purpose and assignment in this earth, right? And so anything that would come and stop that assignment from going forth is not God's will. So yes, it's important for us to tell men and women, it is time for you to get out, get help, do what you have to do to protect your purpose, because that is all of our individual responsibilities.
Yeah, wherever there's suppression, that's my thing. And you can tell. I mean, after you get trained, you've been skilled, you're certified, and you can tell when someone is suppressed. You schedule an appointment, and then you go see the individual, and then the moment you arrive, you can feel the tension. And the tension is so clear.
Oh, yeah, you
After
feel
you
it.
get skilled, the tension is so clear, you ask yourself, how am I going to serve this couple? How? Because they're so broken, and then you're not equipped enough to pack up, to put the pieces together on the spot, because it's a process to put the pieces together. And are they willing to go and put the pieces together?
Yes. Anything you wanted to add?
It's important too, because I like to use different scenarios when I like to project something. I think it's very important. Let's take, for example, a BMW. You drive a BMW, and you know that to go to a BMW dealer or a service factory place where they take care of it, those are the best people to take care of the BMW because they know how it works. They know how it was designed to work. They know what it can take and what it can handle. And I think that that's the same thing that God is to us, because God created marriages. He knows how they're supposed to work. He knows what they're supposed to handle, how the woman is supposed to be submissive, as these ladies have discussed here. And I think that it's important that if we can't figure it out in the natural how to fix it, we go to the manufacturer. I'm not going to take my BMW to a Toyota dealership to fix it because they don't understand how it works. So I go to the manufacturer that made it. God created marriages. God created these relationships. So I think it's important for us to always seek Him when we need to fix it.
We're going to take a short, quick break. And when we come back, we will continue our conversation by asking, are we as a society responsible for these issues? Am I saying it that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Are we responsible?
Is it our responsibility as a society? Sonje, sou fek branche sou télé Anakaona, ou ap gade yon émission spéciale kote nou ap pale sou domestic violence. So nou invite ou pou kapre les amis ou les familles di 38.2 sou Facebook, YouTube, ou ap ka joindre nous. So share, partager live là, et puis pour ou même pour kap poser question. Que nous avons question, les nous retourner, n'a répondre à question. Restez branché, pas déplacé.
Est-ce que vous regardez sous local là, gros clinique là, ou bien sous conseil yon zami? Ou pas ça prend chance ça, ou choisir sous selon soins et services que vous recevoir. Dans Better Care Chiropractic Clinic, douleur pas seulement guéri, li pas tourner. Que c'est accident machine, accident dans sport ou bien dans travail, y a guéri per nous sans opération ni drogue. Dans Better Care Chiropractic Clinic, ou après recevoir meilleur service, meilleur soin, meilleure attention. Relais aujourd'hui dans 407 77 37 ou bien visitez au sur internet dans www. bettercarechiro.com. Yo parlez créole et anglais. Better Care Chiropractic Center. The care you deserve.
merci pour vous-même qui branchez, qui là ensemble avec Miss Shelley Johnson. Et nous t'avons parlé de domestic violence, nous avons parlé, nous avons tout connaître, qui question pour poser, qui ça pour faire. Nous t'avons dit, nous retourner, nous t'avons dit encore. What did we say? So we have some questions to answer.
Before the question, there was a statement in the moment that a woman allowed or meant to basically allow that person to control her destiny.
Yes. What do we say about that?
Yeah, so again, this allows a man to put his hands on her is the moment. We want to make sure that we keep in mind that perpetrators, and it could be the same, the other, and this is not my sentiment specifically, but to this person that the woman to put her hands on him is the moment where he allows her to control his destiny. He is very important in this. And sometimes in the process of healing, we have to get base treatment interventions, help them to get to a place where they have an identity for us to know who we are. Because when you know your purpose, and when you know, I took this chair, see this for a certain reason. So it was designed to hold a position in a certain place. It was designed for this couch. And I am abusing the purpose. It was designed to be sat on. So when you know who you are and you to come upon you, abuse is in don't know what you were designed to do.
I think it's very important to that are watching this broadcast. You have to know this. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose.
That's right.
Tonight is to make sure absolutely we're responsible. We have to each other. We have to take care of one another because it's very important for us. Is that we've lost consciousness, and it's our responsibility to help those who are lost.
Is a big part of knowing who you are. Develop yourself to who you are in that situation where you get abused. Most of the people that get a clue what they want to do with their life. So whatever benefit, and then they just want the benefit, and here we go, abuse.
Some women feel that if they are not beaten,
it's because she don't know who she is. Because if you're a father, even when you're making, so if they're even abused in bed, abuse because the person calls you pleasure, joy with pleasure. If I know who I am, I can do a lot.
So the studio audience had known women in a relationship that role and jealousy, in addition to how the brain operates, and brains that create beliefs of those connections to see the world, the decisions that we make, and it's this way because I have seen aunts and uncles in this way. Then that is how I receive love. I have to example of what love looks like. What was your example of a healthy relationship? To answer what that relationship is. And so love is, I have been in situations, jealousy with love. So if you were not go out, or I don't want you to be on the phone, if you weren't checking my phone, if you weren't, that I felt that you did along the line, I equated jealousy with love. If I think that jealousy is love, the more I walk away from love, if allow God to deliver me from that, I thought love. If you're not, talking to me, but I had to be delivered that, love is envy is not to redefine what love looked like. And so in those situations when you are a woman and you're seeing that love, you have to really a serious union, need deliverance, and they need help, and they need redefining of what that is, because even if you're not a perpetrator, you will be in a situation where a victim will provoke you to be to the point where it does. I have been in
Shelley, we're saying we have to know who we are. We have to understand and know who we are in that relationship. But if that woman is saying this is what she wants from her man, because she knows who she is, she wants that beating.
Well,
she wants that whooping.
Oh, no.
Well, what it is, it's a thinking error. It's learned behavior, a learned understanding, and acquired understanding that comes from a very unhealthy place.
Yeah. And then also, when we talk about domestic violence, we're not talking just about in couples like husband, wife, conjoint, whichever way we want to put it.
Talk about that.
Abusive, domestic abuse can also be in the household to parents, can be also to children,
yes,
can be also to siblings.
To a parent.
And also
Siblings.
you forgot about the gay and lesbian community. You know, women and women, men and men. They also.
So it's not just we're talking about just relationship men and women, men, or whichever way we want to put it. But it's the household. Is the household it's mentally healthy. Because if the household is not mentally healthy, we're gonna find all this commotion of abuse.
So we're talking about all type of abuse.
Yes.
Domestic abuse against your parents, grandparents, children, all type of abuse.
One of the biggest misconceptions about domestic violence is that people think that it's just being hit.
Yes.
There's so much more that's deeper. I mean, the emotional, the financial. There's so much more that goes on. It's almost like, you know, if you're in a room right now, in this room in our audience, if you were to let out some gas in here, just some, what's that gas that kills you? I mean, it can put you to sleep quickly. If you put that in here, you can't see it. It doesn't touch you, but you'll just see bodies falling out. And I think domestic violence is very similar to that.
Because it's a quiet
Yes.
Deprivation too is one of the type of violence that a lot of time it takes time for you to figure out you really in abuse, because when you deprive someone certain liberty, because we have seen that where there's a lot of deprivation for an individual, and that person can't really do anything without that person open the door to tell them, yes, it's okay, you can do that. So they deprive you from the phone. I'm giving you this phone, but you can only use it when I'm home. So what's the reason you give it to me to begin with? So
Can anyone?
With the money, they give you only enough for what you need.
for what you need. And sometimes, a lot of time, when they do that, that's another situation where we were talking about. They basically put this person to be a perpetrator. Because if you give them that amount of money and you like 1, 2, 3, and the person see the consistency, that's how you want to do it, well, guess what? They know they have to do grocery shopping every Wednesday. They have to, you give them $100 grocery shopping every Wednesday, and they must bring the grocery. Guess what? One of these days, not all the groceries gonna come home. They're gonna sneak some $20 for something else, because you don't give them anything else but that $100 for grocery shopping every Wednesday.
Like
So then, exactly, and then we have a situation similar to that in one case that I was working with. The husband, they worked together for a long time. They save a good chunk of amount of money to open a business. Here we go. The husband is going to open the business, but the husband always sending money to family in Haiti, but never allow the wife to send money to the family
That's
in
another.
Haiti.
That's manipulation.
That's deprivation
Mental.
also. That's you deprive the person. We're making the money together. The money is in the account, but you're the only one that can take that money to send you to your family, and I cannot even send $1. If I send $10, it's an issue, and then you start going at it that we're spending too much and stuff, and then what happened? Get at one point that she waits until the balance is money out and put it on open another account on her own name.
Yes.
And then now he doesn't have access to the money anymore. And no matter what he says, she just like, she have the 3 monkeys. She don't see, she don't speak, and she don't hear, because she have the whole money spent. And then here you have a situation. Now he's gonna be the perpetrator, because he started, and then now she.
So they both abusing each other.
Exactly. So and a lot of time you can see the abuse go on both directions, but different type of abuse. You can have a wife that is suppressing sex, okay? And then you can have the husband then taking the money because you're not giving me any, so you're not getting any money. And then you also have a time where you have the wife is in the house and then doing all the chores, taking care of the kids and all that stuff. And then there is an event, she wants to buy the nicest dress, and you say, oh, you have all this dress in the closet, you're not getting another one.
And those are the abuse that don't get reported. Those are the abuse that people don't talk about.
And then what happened? They add up. this doesn't pop out overnight.
Yes.
They're gonna add up, and it's gonna get to a point where she really want that dress, and the money's sitting on the account, and the money is just on your name, and then she goes.
So what do you do in those situations? What do people
I'm
do?
gonna let Shirley to answer that.
What do people do?
Well, I think it goes back to, you know, first of all, helping people to identify boundaries is very important for them to identify boundaries, identify the non-negotiables. It's important to get a husband and a wife, especially when it's not, when there is no imminent harm, right? Because we also have to remember that we have to assess the level of imminent harm, the potential for danger for both parties, because before we start saying we need to get you guys in a counseling room, if the victim, if the abuse is at a place where it does cause imminent harm to any party or the children, then we have to really take a look, are these two ready to be in a counseling room together? But in a situation like that, when there's some different money management issues and there's some abusive ways or abusive tactics that are being implemented to manage the money, you get a husband and wife together to help them to identify the expectations of the other, help them to compromise, and that's what counseling does. It helps to mediate these types of conflicts, help them to identify their boundaries, identify non-negotiables, be very explicit about their expectations and what they expect from the other party, and then we have to get the other party to actually commit to meeting the expectations of the other, and then we hold them accountable to that. You know, so this is what we said we were going to do. We said we were going to have one account. We said that there would be transparency. We said that there wasn't going to be any secrecy. This is what we agreed on. Let's come back every week and make sure that we are sticking to this. So these are ways that we help, you know, get couples that are stuck and have them kind of move forward and compromise.
One of the things too is to have a common goal. A lot of time that before we even think about therapy or getting to counseling, even financial counseling, because on a financial counseling session, before we even think about going through the process about, you know, how to reduce debt on the family, how to bring the family in a stability income where they stable, where they can you know, have a security with their finances, so they know later on they're gonna be okay, their children gonna be okay. They have to have a common goal. If they don't have a common goal, most likely what's going to happen, one or the other, they're gonna go back to square one, to the same issues. And then you can have a couple in counseling or financial counseling where they have financial difficulties, and then you put a common goal, and then the other party for some reason think that I did it because she wanted, I just want peace at that time, I did it. So basically they don't really add it. It's just like it's like you have a cut, and then you put a band-aid on it, but you don't put no solution to heal the process, and you just put the band-aid, you're gonna leave it there.
Cover it.
Yeah. Right. So basically it's like a
as we say,
that
push
is
it under the table.
under the band-aid, and then at any given time you pull that band-aid, so it's not gonna heal. So we want to get to the bottom of it. What is the actual goal? The actual goal is that where is the family today? Where the family want to go? Okay, where is the family? Where was the family? Okay, when we come as a couple, or when our family, our father, or grandfather, where were them? Okay, financially we're talking. Where were them? What were they doing? Okay, where are we today? What are we doing different for our family to be better financially? Okay, so that we're talking about a common goal. And then after that, when we see where the family were as a whole, where the family is today, and then now we're gonna see where the family wants to go, because we have to plan there to go. Because if we're here today and then we're just doing the common thing, we're doing the same mistake our family did, and then we dwell on the same mistake every day.
There's
you
no
right,
healing.
I'm wrong, you wrong, I'm right. We keep going at it. We're gonna keep going in circle like the children of the Israelites. You know, we're gonna be years and years. We're gonna pass 2, 3, 4 generations. We're gonna still having the same issues, and then nothing going to happen. And then what happened? Our community also paralyzed, because it's not just about me, my household, it's about the community as well. So if my family cannot get a common goal to progress, to move forward, what's gonna happen? It's gonna affect the community where we live. If we have 5, 10 family in that same situation, guess what happens? You have a block of people that's having issues, that's not going anywhere.
Yes.
So the main thing is to have a common goal, where we are, where we're going, and then we look forward, where we're going. And then we have to go periodically going toward that goal. Are we moving forward? Or if we have any setback, what are we going to do to catch up if we have a setback? And once we're able to do that, that really can help us. But if one party decides they're going to step back or they're going to step out, then it's going to create the same situation again, or
We
even
stay
worse.
in that circle and no healing. You are watching a special program right here on MyTA TV, Tele Anakaona, and I am with Miss Shelley Fanfan, Milan St. Fleur, and Miss Ella Johnson, and we're talking about domestic abuse, domestic violence. Is it our responsibility? What do we know about it? How do we stop it? What do we do as a community to assist the victims, or as I like to call them, the survivors? We are wrapping up, ladies. Last word for me tonight.
Well, you know, I think that we have spoken about a lot of different things, and I think that a lot of the issues that we addressed really speaks to the spectrum of abuse. And I know that for the most part, we get putting your hands on someone and being physically aggressive and hurting them and inflicting emotional pain. It's domestic violence, it's abuse. But just understand that there is a spectrum of abuse. And it's important for you as a person to understand what your non-negotiables are, to understand who you are, and for those who are on the perpetrator side to understand that, you know what, hurt people hurt others. And there is help out there. There are resources out there. And so remember that if that's you, you may not think, well, because I'm not getting beat up or I'm not getting hurt or I don't have a physical injury, that this doesn't apply to me. No, we are talking about you. Because again, there are many different forms of abuse within this spectrum that we didn't even touch on today. I made a Facebook post earlier today talking about how there are oftentimes people are using this child support as a way of hurting the other party. That's a form of financial abuse where every time you hear that this other person is making moves in their lives, you're at the courthouse filing another motion. We talked about women and sometimes men that withhold access of the children to see the other parent. These are all forms of abuse in this spectrum that we're talking about today, and there is help. Know your purpose. Understand that there is an assignment on your life, and God wants you to thrive. And so don't ever accept anything less than a person valuing you for the jewel that you are. We are all a royal priesthood. We are a peculiar people. We're not made, we're in this world, we're not of this world. I truly believe that we are from a kingdom where there is no sickness, there is no illness, there is no confusion, there is no abuse. We were here to serve a purpose. So make sure that you are always operating in that purpose and don't let anybody stop you.
Before you end, Miss Shelley, please tell my audience where they can find you, if they would like to speak to you, if they feel that they are in that, how can they reach you?
Absolutely. You can reach me at info@harmonymhbs.com. You can reach me at 407-730-3554. I'm a licensed psychotherapist with Harmony Mental Health and Behavioral Services, and I'm here to partner with you and your family.
Thank you. Ms. Milan.
Well, my final word will be know your non-negotiables and set a goal. Sit down with your family and set a goal. Have a time with the family talking about who you are and who you are and who they are, and accept who they are and then accept who you are and work on yourself and allow them to work on themselves. So if you're able to do that, we can do a lot.
Yes.
And of course, you can always find me here at Tele Anakaona, Cause Finance, every Saturday at 6 p.m. And then we live here and trying to educate you. We provide financial literacy to groups and then also to individuals and businesses. And then we are financial strategists as well. And we are licensed professionals. So for all your financial needs, do not hesitate to call me. The number is always here, 407-758-1932.
And last but not least, the beautiful Miss Ella.
Thank you, thank you. Listen, I am excited. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to this broadcast. very, very important issue. There are people right now that are watching this broadcast who understand what we're talking about because you are either a perpetrator or you're one of the people that are being perpetrated against. You can take action. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? You are not in this world for that reason. I said earlier, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. That means that God has something for you to do. And these things that you're dealing with right now are just distractions. You can get out. Don't blame yourself for what they're doing to you, which is very common, what we do when we're being abused. We want to make it seem as if we started it. We did something, just like with Ray Rice, with that situation. The woman is now taking part of the blame because he knocked her out and dragged her out of the elevator. Those are not your issues. Their issues are not your issues. And if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. I have to keep saying that because I think that sometimes abuse will make us feel that if our life doesn't matter. That's not true. That's not true. And I just want to end with this. I have to end with this. The purpose of this broadcast and everything is for you to know who you are, but whose you are.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for the information. And Miss Ella, you didn't tell them where they can reach you. I know you have some books.
Yes,
You do your live on Facebook.
Yes, I am live on Facebook, live sometimes. I am always on Facebook. You can always find me on Facebook. But I am currently writing 2 books. The first one is The Final Torn, One Night with the King. I might even go there. One Night with the King. And the other book is the Chirping Bird, It Was Supposed to Happen. And the Chirping Bird is actually my true story, unedited. Of course, the Torn series is based on true events, but that's one thing. Another thing is I really need your support, those of you that are watching this broadcast. Right now, Women at Work International, we've been feeding families for Thanksgiving since 2014. And in 2014, I went home to Alabama. God gave me a vision to go home and feed families for Thanksgiving. It's now 2018, and we have expanded the business. We are actually going out of the country to West Africa. We're going to Liberia, Painesville, Liberia. And I personally need your support. The people in Liberia need your support. So if you want to hit me up and you want to donate, I don't know, someone out there may be able to write a check for $10,000. I'm just saying. I'm a big dreamer. but to God be all the glory. But seriously, those are the types of things that we're doing. So if you can assist with that, that's what means more to me than anything, feeding families for Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Ella. Miss Shelley, Miss Milan, thank you so much, ladies, for being here. And I thank you at home, studio audience. Thank you for being here with us at home. We thank you, and we ask that you continue to watch our program. And this was our Domestic Violence Forum. My name is Natasha Wiley. Au revoir.
Natasha,
À la prochaine.
Can
Yes.
you leave a 1-800 number?
Yes.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I know that we are closing. I just want to make sure that we leave our audience with a resource, a 1-800-401-9128. That's 1-800-401-9128. That's the Crime Victims Advocate. It's a 24-hour hotline. Make the call.
1-800-407-409.
1-800-401-9128.
9128. C'est comme ça nous dit au revoir et à la prochaine. Thank you, Miss Shelley, for that. Restez branchés sous télé Anakaona pour continuer à garder le programme nous à soir. So, nous disons au revoir et à la prochaine.
My name is Georges Boussou Jr. I am the county director for the Democratic Haitian American Caucus of Florida. You could call me George. Welcome to Caribbean Street Talk. I have with me here my friend, my partner and co-host, Lima Dunbar. Welcome, Lima.
Thank you, George. My name is Lima Dunbar, and I am the host of a talk show, a Saturday talk show called The Ladies Chat Room that can be heard on iTunesRadio.com with simulcast on islandbeatradio.net. I am also the editor-in-chief for iTunes Entertainment Magazine, and I also represent Women of Culture. And if you don't know yet, I'm a Trinidadian from Trinidad and Tobago, the most southerly island in the Caribbean.
Awesome. Well, I don't have to say that I'm from Haiti because with my accent, everybody could see a big H in front of my head.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, if you say so. I mean, I was still thinking, let me see, with that accent, you could still be French? Pardon?
Well, less likely. Well, this show is going to be a socio-political show. Of course, we wear several hats in terms of child sexual abuse that with my organization, Word in Action, but it's not the organization that I'm representing today. I want to talk about real issues, and there are a lot of issues that we need to talk about until the election day. One of them is the voting right. Tell us a little bit about the voting right.
So I did some homework, okay, and I would like to think that I've always been really politically inclined because I think about things that the typical person don't really, oh, okay, let me don't even say that, the typical person, but check it out. The Voting Rights Act is from 1965. Now, if you check that out, ladies and gentlemen, that's just only 53 years ago.
Very young.
53 years ago. Prior to that, we did not have the right to vote. So ask yourself this question. Is the right to vote protected? Let me check some of the information that I got. American citizens can vote, but they do not have a federally protected right to vote enshrined by the Constitution. Nothing in the Constitution explicitly guarantees our right to vote. We do not possess an affirmative right to vote.
Hold on, Lima. This is huge. For those of you that are listening, I would want you to at least read that over because this is so important. Sometimes I heard people in our own community saying that, you know what, I'm not voting because my right is not covered or my vote is not going to count and so on and so forth. However, some of them don't know the struggles to reach that point.
And think how many people died so that you could decide, I think I'm going to stay home today. But you know what? I'm getting really passionate because this is one of my pet peeves, so let me try to rein it in. Okay, I'm going to try to rein it in.
Yeah, go.
But let me repeat that, okay? So the Voting Rights Act of 1965, again, 53 years ago. American citizens, I'm repeating myself, can vote, but they do not have a federally. When you hear the word federally, you tell yourself not state, but federal.
Federal.
Federal. Okay, because a lot of people also get confused with the difference between federal, which is government, the United States government, and then state, which is in this state, we're in Florida, so the state of Florida. You do not have a federally protected right to vote enshrined by the Constitution. Nothing in the Constitution explicitly guarantees our right to vote.
Nothing
in the Constitution. The
guaranteed.
Constitution has been amended over a period of time, and that's something that we could get into on our next show, all right? But there's nothing that guarantees your right to vote based on the Constitution.
We are talking about the biggest democracy on earth.
Supposedly.
We are talking about the United States of America. Over 300 years in existence. So we, African Americans,
well, I'm Caribbean American.
Caribbean Americans, okay, fine, do not have that right to vote guaranteed by the Constitution. That's what you're telling me.
That's what I'm telling you.
What should we do about that? What should be done about that? Because this is unacceptable to my standard or maybe to my view. I don't think this is acceptable in the 21st century.
It is unacceptable, but let's think how the average person thinks. In this age of smartphones, technology, I always feel that there is no excuse not to know. So why is it that I am seeking this information out? I got the same smartphone that most people have, and everybody's got Google. So why is it that this is important for me and not important for some people?
That's a great question. And this is where the dilemma really lies, because not only the issue of voting, I think there are a lot of other issues that we somehow put it under the rug. We're not proactive in educating ourselves about what affects us the most. And a voting right is very important, because this is what would change your life or affect your life in many ways, because you're talking about electing people to make decisions on your behalf, decisions that will affect you, decisions that would affect the life of your children, your children's children. Therefore, it is important for you to be educated, to learn more about your voting right. And once you know about it, you would understand why it is so important, that particularly in this election period, to go out to vote. Lima.
Okay, so I'm listening to you, and I pulled up some information as to some of the reasons why. Well, it's broken down into different questions, all right? This first one is the lack of interest is the most important reason that eligible citizens are unregistered. And before I even go there, let me just mention this. In 2016, 60% of eligible citizens voted in the presidential election. So what are the other 40%?
That's a good question again. You keep on asking the right question. Why are they staying at home? Why are they not participating? Okay. Is that a cultural issue? Is that a mistrust in the government, in the system? What is it?
Well, they're saying here lack of interest, like I said a minute ago, is the most important reason that eligible citizens are unregistered. And here are some of the responses, broken down into percentage. I don't want to vote, so I don't need to register, 44%. I don't want to vote, so I don't need to register, 44%. I intend to register, but haven't gotten around to it, 27%.
Wow.
There has not been a candidate or issue that has inspired me to register, 25%. I don't want to register for privacy or security reasons, 11%. Check this one. It's not convenient, 9%. I don't know how to register, yeah, right, 6%. I am not eligible due to a felony conviction. Well, I can understand that. 5%.
That's a very
That's the only excuse some people should have, all right? Registration opportunities are not available in my preferred language or in the format that is accessible to me, 1%. That's also, no, that one, based on all the percentages that I looked at, there's only two that to me make sense. The one with felony convictions and not in opportunities not available in your preferred language.
And the felony position is it's something that we will talk about.
We will talk about.
Because there are amendments, and people are talking about the right to those felons supposed to be having for voting. Amendment 4, and we will talk about Amendment 4.
On the Florida
but as far as you know, not being able to vote because it's not convenient, because I don't.
Okay,
privacy,
so
this
is supposed to be Caribbean straight talk, right? So I can go there.
It's straight talk. Go ahead.
If it have a party coming up, so let me talk from the perspective of a Trinidadian. We like to party. So when you see how some of the big names coming up, you've got Bunji Garlin, Faye and Lyons, you got Patrice Roberts, you know, we like we party, we like we carnival. I'm sure it's going to be very convenient for you then, right? To find a party because it's all over the place, right? And even if it's in all over the place, you're going to know that it's carnival or it's party, and you're going to find a party. You find, if you're really, really the type of person that likes to be in a club every weekend, you find the club, right? Yes, you do. And y'all could say that I'm buffing all you up or scolding y'all. I am angry. I'm what you would call right now an angry black woman. Why? Because, let me go there. Number 45 is just jacking this country up, okay? Really then, Lemon?
Straight talk.
Really
straight talk. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Wait, I gotta breathe. No, I gotta breathe.
Do it. Do it. It's very important for people to understand what's happening in this country and how this is affecting them in a very, very profound way. Go ahead, Lemon.
I'm trying to calm down still. I'm trying to calm down still. Let me switch to something, and then let's bring it back to this. Right now, voting is so important for so many different reasons. You've got the deficit that has ballooned, and Republicans consider themselves the deficit hawks, right? They give Obama a whole lot of flack,
Oh, yes.
but they consider themselves the deficit hawks. Right now, with this tax cut or this tax plan that went into effect, which is supposed to put money in our pockets.
And we know
Okay.
that's not right. And you know that's not true.
But remember, that whole problem behind that tax plan is that it is permanent for the rich people, and it is temporary for people like me and you. All right? We're giving you all reasons to go out and vote. Okay? That's reason number one. I need to write that
And this is happening as we speak. And that's why this electoral period is very important for us Caribbean Americans. Those of us who are living here in Central Florida, who I remember I was in the campaign in 2016, and I have people who are telling me I'm not voting because I don't like so and so. I didn't like Hillary Clinton because I'm not.
I didn't
voting.
like Hillary either, but I still voted.
But again, that's not
for her.
Exactly, but that's not the. And the thing is not the point. Look at the alternative. We warned you. We told you what was going to happen. You did not go out and vote.
But
This is
George.
what's happening now. Now we have a chance to take the House. And now you're going to stay home and not participate in the voting process. Now that would be a grave mistake for us.
But George, you're saying we warned them. Let's come back to smartphones.
Go ahead.
Even if you didn't know about 45, Google Trump. You will see, you would have seen a whole lot of information just trickling down as to what he is, the fact that they knew years ago that he was a racist. I mean, even if you didn't see it in front of you, the fact that he kept bringing up this birther issue with Obama should be a huge red flag, because he continued that trend for how many years?
Oh, for
the whole 8 years of Obama,
absolutely.
right?
The birth
so,
of
I
movements,
mean,
yeah.
come on, and y'all still voted for him. Okay, or didn't show up to vote. I'm sorry. Real mean, real mean. Listen.
And this is the problem, because when you are disenfranchised and thinking that, okay, I don't have a voice. If I sit home, you know what, the system is still going to be the same. My life is not going to change. But tell me about it. Is your life better 8 years ago in comparison to how you're living now? No, I don't think so. If you look at how we, the Caribbean Americans, the black folks, and the policy, and some of them are straight racist, some of the policies that are happening in Washington, D.C. Now, you're telling me that that is not affecting you. You know how they're deporting people. Now, let's
illegally, in my estimation, because it is going against everything that initially stood for, as far as the court system pertaining to immigration. They're doing their own thing. Let me be real, okay? I know we're jumping all over the place here. I forgive us. At least forgive me.
And we're still in the reason why you should vote.
Why you should vote.
We're still in the reason why people choose not to participate in the electoral process. No, let's go back, because you mentioned something that's very important. That's really struck me.
Which one?
The fact that they're talking about your right to vote is not even federally secured.
You know, when you...
And that, for me, it's a big stroke.
I'm listening to you, and I'm reflecting on how people died. I'm reflecting on some of the images that I have seen where people, blacks and whites, took to the streets marching in Selma. I'm reflecting on people being bitten by dogs. I'm reflecting on people being washed down with fire hoses, which you know are very powerful, very strong. I'm reflecting on the fact that people have died. I mean, literally died, shed their blood, so that we could have
That's right.
that right, which we think is a right, but yes, for all intents and purposes, let's look at it as, okay, it's still a right to vote. And you guys choose to not register, or even if you are registered, not even show up and vote.
And vote. And one thing that I want to underline, when you're not voting, that doesn't mean you don't vote, because somebody else is voting for you. And they are making decisions
For you.
So you do have a voice. Look, Florida is a 1% state. 1% in the general elections. And we know what that means. In other words, your vote, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 votes count to put somebody in place in power. And some people tend, Lima, to only concern about the presidential election. Tell me more about that and why it is important, this particular election.
Okay, so let's just talk
November.
about the House of Representatives. Let's look at Congress on the whole. Congress is made up of 535 individuals. 435 of them are from the House of Representatives and 100 from the U.S. Senate. The House of Representatives elect an individual. Your term is only 2 years. Their term is only 2 years. In the Senate, it is 6 years. So right now, on November 6th, all the individuals in the House of Representatives are up for to either lose their seat or keep their seat.
Or keep their seat.
Okay? And because Senate is 6 years, only 35 of the 100, their seats will be contested in November. So for the blue wave to happen, the Democrats need 218 to regain control. 218 seats to regain control. Your vote counts, because your vote could be the 218.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
217, we do not have control. And if we do not have control, think about everything that is happening right now. Let's look at what happened a couple weeks ago with Judge Kavanaugh. I remember when I was in school, graduate school at UCF. No, it wasn't graduate school, it was undergrad. That's when I realized that a lot of the people in my class didn't know that the Supreme Court was forever.
Yeah.
Not saying that they can't be impeached. They can be impeached for not having the right, comportment, which Kavanaugh reflected when he was being questioned 2 weeks ago. Okay, so that is rational enough for the Democrats to go after impeaching Kavanaugh if they regain control
of the House.
Okay, now we would like to regain control of the entire Congress, which would be the House of Representatives and the Senate. But even if we get only the House of Representatives, and let me just take out that word only, if we get control of the House of Representatives, that's enough to start the ball rolling to go after Trump. I said his name, and I like to refer to him as 45. That will be enough to go after 45 to request that he show his taxes.
Absolutely right. And I like that perspective. Because, look, a lot of us are angry.
You think?
A lot of us are frustrated. I am frustrated. Sometimes I don't turn on my television for what I've seen, for the country that we understand is supposed to be the pillar of democracy. Listen, I came from Haiti. I grew up in Haiti. I understand dictatorship. I understand not being able to vote and participate in the electoral process of your country.
It was like that in Haiti?
Those in Haiti would understand Riel Vaillant. Those that are listening now, they would understand the massacre that happened when people went to vote and they were killed.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I need to be educated about that.
The Haitian people, we have the very first free and democratic election in 1990. This is after over 200 years of independence or being free of a country, because all of our electoral process used to be a second-degree process where the people didn't participate, where the Congress would vote just the same way you have here when you have the Electoral College.
Which needs to be kicked to the curb.
Thank you very much. Now, for the first time, the people are going to participate, to vote freely. And that could not happen because people who are in the status quo wanted the power to remain with them. The dictatorship after 1986 continues with the military coups and so on and so forth. So when people gathered to vote, there was a massacre where hundreds of people died, literally.
Really?
Yes. Wow. So we understand that process. we understand, even though until today we are in the what we call the democratic transition, where we're still learning about democracy because we didn't have democracy in our home. And again, there's a big question mark with that type of democracy that they're trying to impose in my own homeland. But now living in America, being an Haitian American, I understand how important it is to be part of the political process. I understand why that my voice could count. I understand why it is important for me not to allow people to make decisions for me and for my son or for my family. Therefore, I took my responsibility to learn, to educate myself, and be part of the process. Because you cannot, and I'm talking to some of the educated Haitians and those who call themselves leaders and so on and so forth. And there are a lot of people, they call themselves the silent majority, where they only complaining about things that are happening in their living room. However, they're so comfortable, you won't see them in the forefront and fighting and advocating for what they believe in. It's time to break the silence.
Let me tap into something that you just said there. You said that it's time for them to participate. Most of us have children. I don't have any grandchildren yet, but I do have 3 sons, the eldest of which is 27, and my twins are 25. One of them actually will be taking the bar next year, and he wants to do environmental law. We have to think about the young people. We have to think about the children and our grandchildren. Don't be selfish. They need to grow up in an environment or in a world where they can experience some of the things we have experienced living in this country. And when you vote, that is your opportunity to do that. And I'm saying that, and I'm also thinking about the fact that climate change is happening, and 45 took us out of the climate change accord.
Yes, yes.
I'm also referring to the fact that last week there was a report that came out from the United Nations that discussed the dramatic changes in the climate, and that right now it is crunch time and that we need to start doing things differently. Next week's show, I will give you all a list of the things that you can do, simple things that you can do, okay, to impact a positive change on your environment so that our young people, our youth can have a world to grow up in.
Yes, and remember because this president.
Thank you, because he's not my president.
Said that climate change
is a hoax.
Is a hoax.
The Republican Party, let's not just talk about 45 alone. The Republican Party as a whole believes that it is a hoax. So ladies and gentlemen, young people, when you go out to vote on November 6th, you're voting for so many different things that will impact you, including, help me if I'm saying the acronym correctly, TPS? TPS, which is something that we're going to always mess up the letters, because I have some young Haitian Americans, one of them actually lives with me, and they are all impacted by that. And we will talk about that in one of the future shows. Absolutely. Okay? But when you vote, when you go out to vote on November 6th, you're voting for a myriad of different reasons. A myriad of different reasons.
And while you're saying that, I have an appeal to my millennial, the young people. Those of you who are in the universities, the professionals, the young professionals, the future professionals, you also have a responsibility. I understand sometimes you complain that we don't have a platform for young people to participate. We know how our culture is. I understand all of that. However, you have the ability and the energy to change the leadership in the country, in our community as well.
Let me tap into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, let me tap into that. Always remember, the young become the old. One day you will be my age. So right now, yeah, you're a millennial and all of that good stuff, but you're going to get old one day. And if you do not act now, your inaction is going to impact you 10 years, 20 years from today?
There's no doubt about it. Because how, you see, I was very inspired by that young kid during the whole shooting in the
Parkland?
the
Which
Parkland.
one? Emma Gonzalez, the one that caught her here?
You got it. It was very inspiring. and I can't wait within my community to see that. I want to see my young people involved. I want to see those of you who are in the universities, those of you who are law majors, social science majors, you have a voice and you have a responsibility towards your community. We need to change the paradigm and making sure that we have more competent and educated leaders in our community, but as well as in the White House.
Okay, so let me tap into that, because I know some of our young people might be saying, well, you all want us to be leaders in our community, but what are the current leaders doing to help us become the future leaders? That's the conundrum.
Let me tell you.
How many of us are out there creating and being examples
And
so that they can
I
follow?
totally agree with you.
Okay.
We don't have a lot.
I figured you would agree with me.
And absolutely, and you're absolutely right. But power, you take that. It's not given to you.
Can I get a bounce? Ma'am.
It's not given to you. You want power, you intervene. You make your case, and you take it.
And that's why you got to vote.
That's why you got to vote. That's why you need to organize. Because this community needs to be organized. This community needs to be unified. So when we speak in one accord. We understand each other. The issues are not different. Whether it's housing, whether it's healthcare, whether it's immigration, it's affecting every single one of us. So we could speak in one accord. We could understand why it is important to go out today and make, if you're not registered, that is a problem.
Well, early voting starts, I believe, in about a week or so. So it's too late to register to vote for November 6th.
Yes.
But you still have enough time to register for the general elections. But again, let me explain to you about the importance of midterms. Midterms, and let's use the Kavanaugh hearing as an example, a really good example. Midterm elections is where you vote for the senator or the candidate of your choice, and you let him represent you in the House of Representatives or in the U.S. Senate. So he or she is going to represent you in Congress. When you do not have a voice, and we're talking from a democratic point of view, okay? So we are, for all intents and purposes, talking about the blue wave that we would like to happen. If you are not represented, let's use the Kavanaugh hearings. What happened a couple weeks ago? The Republicans dominated, and they were insensitive. They were
inhuman.
Look at how Graham acted like a fool.
Inhuman. I've never seen anything like
And
that.
Grassley, he just went beyond all, I mean, he just ignored all the rules and all the norms. Okay? And that's what you have. That's what you got. Because some of us didn't vote, and that's why they are now the majority.
The majority.
Okay? So we need the Democrats to become the majority in Congress, both in the U.S. Representatives and the U.S. Senate, the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. Again, let's bring it back to Kavanaugh. Justice Kavanaugh is now a Supreme Court, he's one of the 9.
Appointed for life.
Appointed for life. Let that sink in. Appointed for life. Okay? Take it, those of you who are a little bit politically, into politics, take it back to when Obama was president, and he had, oh Lord, I can't remember the guy's name, but he nominated a man for a judge for justice. Connolly, what's his name? McConnell? McConnell went up and said, oh, this will never happen. They're gonna grandstand. They kept that man on the sidelines for a year. A year. Yes. It was not a rush. They wanted to make sure they had a Republican president in so that they could do what they do. And they did exactly that. As soon as Trump came in, they already have Neil, the last justice. I got it. So I'm a little bit off on my names. Okay, but last year he nominated one. As soon as he got into the White House, he nominated Neil Gover. Y'all, Google it. Yeah, that's your homework. Google it. And now here comes the second one, Justice Kavanaugh. So they want to make the Supreme Court totally conservative. Totally conservative. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for me?
For your rights.
As far as your rights?
Absolutely.
Remember, the right to vote is not federally, is not protected by the Constitution, okay? So somewhere down the road, somebody could come up with a bright idea. Okay, let's get rid of this.
Vote in or out.
And they come up with some kind of Republican plan, conspiracy. There you go, I said it, conspiracy.
And I'm
to take it to the Supreme Court.
And I'm wondering why is not inserted. Because you could amend the Constitution.
Yes, you can amend it. I don't think...
And why is that there is no propositions to amend the Constitution and making this constitutionally right for us to vote?
I honestly, I don't know. This can be our homework that we can get some more information on that.
I'm not a lawyer.
And we could probably bring in
an
attorney that is a constitutional attorney that could probably have something to say about this, because it would be interesting to know why this was never discussed before, why this was never put forward. But then I don't know. Probably it is there and it's still sitting on somebody's desk somewhere, and it's never been put forth. And good news though. And I know we're bouncing around, but not, because it's still all about voting. Rick Scott has been the governor of Florida for what, 2 terms?
2 terms.
He jacked up the state, you know that,
time.
right? And we'll talk about that next week.
We'll talk about it next week.
Because he cannot, okay, go.
I got you. I know, let's slow down a little bit. And we have so much, as you can see, the energy here. Our time is basically up, as I told you.
For real?
Yes. Okay. I told you we have a lot to talk about.
And I wanted to mention, okay, I'll mention these stats on the next show.
Absolutely. But we thank you for being with us. We thank you for being part of this show. This is our first show, and I'm sure that you're going to love it. You could call the station and ask for more, but it's just the beginning. Come up next week, same time, and we have much more to talk about. My name is George Bosu, and...
My name is Lima Dunbar, and I am totally enjoying this and vibing, and we'll see you on the next show.